Good late afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Sage and you're watching 𝐃𝐤𝐴 TV live from Sydney. And this is the last show of the day, the last trade. There's no better way to wind down the day and the week than with today's market close commentary. And in today's show we'll look at the overall ASX 200 performance of the day and also explore the gainers and losers. And this would be followed by shares that grabbed the limelight today, such as AusNet Services, APA Group, NIB Holdings, 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 and many more. Then I'll share the trending updates from the Asian markets in the last segment, along with a special report on cryptocurrencies. So let's dive straight in. The Australian shares closed higher in a volatile trade on Tuesday, snapping a two-session losing streak, undermining weak cues from the global peers. And the market staged a smart recovery in the mid-afternoon trade, led by the late buying in tech, telecom, energy and consumer discretionary stocks. The caution also prevailed in the market ahead of the US Fed meeting, as investors seek clarity on bond tapering programs. And the benchmark index, the ASX 200, ended 0.35% higher, led by heavyweight energy and tech stocks. And early today, the index opened lower and declined as much as 0.8%, hit a low of 7,191.70, setting a new 50-day low. On the sectoral front, all the indices barring financials ended in positive terrain, and the energy sector emerged as the best performer with a 2% gain, owing to the rise in the crude oil prices. And the November delivery Brent crude oil futures were up 0.95% per barrel, whereas November delivery WTI crude oil futures rose 1.1% per barrel. The energy sector was followed by the information technology, which gained 1.52%. And telecom, consumer discretionary and healthcare indices also notched solid gains and rose over 1%. Bucking the trend, financial sector emerged as the lone gainer, falling 0.3% after Reserve Bank's September meeting minutes offered clarity on the board's decision to taper the bond purchases despite the recent tightening of lockdowns across Australia. And let's look at the top gainers and losers of the day. The top performer on the ASX pack was Aussie energy company AusNet Services, which jumped 9.75% after it resumed trading from a halt. And the company has received a takeover bid worth $2.60 Australian per share from the APA Group. And some of the other top performers were investment firm Washington H. Soul Pattinson and Company, software business WiseTech Global, iron ore explorer Champion Iron and agro firm Nufarm. On the flip side, the natural gas and energy business APA Group topped the losers chart by falling 4.95%. And some of the other top laggards were the ASX asset firms, asset management, Janus Henderson Group, investment manager Magellan Financial and miner Nickel Mines, as well as the real estate firm Cromwell Property Group. Let's now shift our lens to the stocks that grabbed the investors' attention today. And first up, the shares of gas pipeline business APA Group declined as much as 4.8% after the company bid to acquire AusNet Services. And APA offered a bid worth $2.60 Australian per share to acquire the Aussie energy company AusNet Services, and the development came a day after Brookfield Asset Management proposed an offer worth $2.50 Australian a share. And meanwhile, AusNet shares entered a trading halt today, pending an announcement. On Monday, AusNet shares gained as much as 20% and hit a 52-week high after it received a takeover bid from Brookfield Asset Management worth $2.50 Australian a share. And now let's take a small break, but stay tuned with me as I'll be back with more trending market updates. Hi, I'm Sage, and get ready to take the crypto ride with me on 𝐃𝐤𝐴 TV. Watch the crypto buzz every Tuesday and join the excitement at 𝐃𝐤𝐴 TV. From Bitcoins to NFTs to Dogecoin and DeFi, we have updates about everything around these digital currencies. Understand the investing rationale and the risks involved in the space with me, Sage, on Crypto Buzz. Keep watching 𝐃𝐤𝐴 TV. Hello and welcome back. Sage here with the market close commentary by 𝐃𝐤𝐴 TV. And let us look at some of the stocks grabbing the investors' attention today. Shares of the Australian Healthcare Fund, NIB Holdings, rose 0.7% in the intraday trade after receiving regulatory nods to form a buying group with Honeysuckle Health. And the consumer watchdog Australian Competition and Consumer Commission has allowed insurers Honeysuckle Health and NIB to form a health service buying group. The approval has granted with a rider that other insurance players such as Medibank, Bupa, HCF and HBF will not be joining the buying group. Let's move on. Shares of multinational contractor CIMIC Group slipped as much as 3.9% despite securing a contract. The group's CPB contractor has been selected in a joint venture as a partner to work with the Australian Rail Track Corporation for the delivery of Inland Rail's Southern Civil Works program. The government-owned Australian Rail Track Corporation selected the ACA-CPB joint venture, a 50-50 joint venture between CPB contractors and Acciona Construction Australia for development of civil works in northern New South Wales. The contract covers approximately 306 kilometres of new track formation, comprising bulk earthworks, drainage, bridge, viaduct structures, materials and logistics management. Next up, shares of RPM Global Holdings dropped 3.2% in the intraday trade following acquisition news. And the mining software solutions provider has signed a deal to acquire 100% stake in Perth-based Blueprint Environmental Strategies, and Blueprint is an environmental, social and governance services company. The acquisition will help RPM to grow its mining-focused ESG team and capabilities to address an increasing demand for ESG-related services and technology solutions from the mining industry. And the next update comes in from the Indonesian oil and gas business Bass Oil, whose shares jumped 100% on getting a nod for its Cooper Basin asset acquisition. The company informed its shareholders this morning that it has received approval from the Government of South Australia for the acquisition of asset from Cooper Energy. In July this year, the company had signed a pact to acquire an interest in a portfolio of Cooper Basin tenements from Cooper, including a 30% interest in the South Australian onshore producing Warrior gas and oil field. And shares of Woolworths made the news today, trading marginally higher following a report that the retailer is mulling the sale of an Australian dollar bond linked to its sustainability program with 6- and 10-year maturities. And Australia's largest food retailer will start speaking to investors on the 22nd of September in meetings arranged by Citi, Commonwealth Bank, HSBC and Westpac. And Woolworths is rated a Baa2 by Moody's and BBB by S&P. And next up, toll road operator Atlas Arteria's shares rose over 2% after an announced dividend. The company has declared a $15.50 Australian per share unfranked dividend for the first 6 months of the year. It has set an ex-dividend date of September 24th, and the distribution will be paid on October 5th. And now let's take a small break, but please stay tuned with me. I'll be back with more trending market updates. Property by 𝐊𝐴𝐼𝐴. Looking for a dream home? Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest lowdown on the property market, tune in on 𝐊𝐼𝐴 TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision. Keep watching Property with 𝐊𝐼𝐴. Hello and welcome back. Sage here with the Market Close commentary by 𝐊𝐼𝐴 TV. And let us look at some of the stocks grabbing the investors' attention today. Shares of Beam Communications Holdings dropped 8% despite receiving orders. The company engaged in the manufacturing of satellite, cellular and dual-mode equipment has received orders for the manufacturing of 5,000 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 or 𝐂 devices from NASDAQ-listed satellite services firm Iridium Communications Inc. The order is to meet continuous consumer demand for the popular portable satellite hotspot device. And half of this order will be delivered in the third quarter of financial year 22, with the balance scheduled for delivery in the first half of financial year 23. And next up, the share price of the copper miner NORONEX traded flat following an acquisition of the Kalahari Copper Belt project in Namibia. The company has signed a new joint venture agreement over the Snowball Copper project to expand its copper portfolio in Namibia's region. And Snowball is located 30 kilometres to the northeast of NORONEX's flagship 𝐕𝐝𝐴 project, where it recently commenced a 10,000-metre drilling program. And last but not least, shares of exploration company Reedy Lagoon Corporation jumped 24% after it issued an update on progress in lithium brine projects in Nevada, United States. The company has commenced geophysical survey work at its Alkali Lake North projects in Nevada. And the survey will help to better define the lithium brine targets at both its Alkali Lake North project and its Clayton Valley project. And let's move on now to the next segment. We'll take a look east towards the Asian markets performance. And shares in the Asia-Pacific region traded mostly lower on Tuesday as concerns about the potential collapse of Chinese property developer Evergrande spooked the market sentiments. The negative closing of Wall Street in the overnight trade also injected negativity into the market. And investors also awaited the US Federal Reserve Bank's meeting outcome, which will set the tone for the global equities. And this week is going to be power-packed as nearly a dozen of the central banks will hold their meetings, led by the US Federal Reserve, which will announce its monetary policy on Wednesday. Markets in South Korea and mainland China remained closed for the second day for holidays. And Japan's Nikkei was the worst performer in the region market, with a sharp loss of 2%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng continued losing streaks after carnage in the previous session, and Hang Seng was down 0.3% on persistent worries about China's troubled property market. And on Monday, the index crashed 4% on fears of China's crackdown on Hong Kong's reality firms, which beleaguered the Chinese developer China Evergrande Group, falling over 17%. And among other Asian markets, Indonesia's Jakarta Composite was down 0.75%, while Taiwan's weighted index traded marginally lower. India's BSE Sensex also edged lower in the opening deals. However, bucking the bearish trend, the Straits Times in Singapore rose 0.4%. While Thailand's SET Composite climbed as well, 0.45%. And meanwhile, Wall Street ended lower on Monday as Evergrande's fiasco dented investors' appetite for equities and prompted to move towards safer assets like gold. Investors also remained sidelined ahead of the highly anticipated Federal Reserve meeting. And the Dow Jones plunged 1.78%, while the S&P 500 dipped 1.70%. The Nasdaq Composite ended the session 2.19% lower. And now it's time for the last segment of this show. Let's have a quick look at the crypto market's performance. And the major cryptocurrencies were also bleeding in the red as China's jitters injected volatility in the market and forced investors to shift towards safer assets. The digital coins extended losses as the caution prevailed in the market ahead of the US Fed meeting slated to start today. The investors seek clarity on the central bank's bond tapering program. And the price of Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency by market cap, dropped 7.5%. The global market cap of the virtual currency slipped to $800 billion. Ether, the world's second largest crypto, tumbled nearly 8%, and the coin has declined 10% in the last 7 days. Meanwhile, the price of Cardano, the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap, was down 6%, while Dogecoin's price also dipped nearly 7%. And the other virtual currencies such as Tether, Binance Coin, Litecoin, XRP, Stellar, Solana and Uniswap were also witnessing surges in selling. And that's a wrap, folks. Hope you found the market closing commentary informative. We will be back tomorrow live from Sydney, as close as possible to 9:30 in the morning with our first report, the pre-market scenario. Take care, stay safe. This is Sage signing off.